I remember, Sharon, okay, now I'm going to tell you the good news, Sharon. Okay, so you remember that we had the 2007 Cabinet Manual, and we thought that it had Prime Minister Muldoon in 1976. He created, it was called the Cabinet Office Manual, not just the Cabinet Manual. And he said that when he found out that the 1975 Treaty of Waitangi Tribunal was going to open, the Maori Queen had gone to visit the Pope, and Manuka Hanari had gone to visit the Pope, right? And then the two of them had come back, and then they had decided to leave the Queen of England to separate themselves from the subject status. And they argued that over at the United Nations, they argued that the New Zealand natives didn't understand what it meant to be made subjects of the Queen in regards to being able to buy pure title land and not buy pure title land. So if you're a subject of the Queen, you are not able to buy any pure title land. You're not even allowed to trade in it, nothing. But if you are not a subject of the Majesty and you are totally under your native status, natives of one group can trade allodial land between natives of another group. So you can trade amongst yourselves, but you're not allowed to trade to outsiders.
Outside.
Yeah. And since the New Zealand natives had made them all subjects of the Queen, most New Zealand natives weren't able to trade in pure title land. Only your leaders could. And so anyway, Prime Minister Muldoon, when he found out that they were going to do all this, he turned around and whipped out this new Cabinet Office Manual of the rules that they would have to follow, and he put in the 1688 Will and Mary that would be above any other laws that the Waitangi Tribunal would come in and make, which protected us all. So he said, you can go and make any rules that you want, but you can't make anything that's repugnant. So Muldoon must have known that was done in 1976, Sharon. And then they had made some, I'll tell you about the adjustments in a minute, but in 2007, they made a new Cabinet Manual. But in 2023, just a couple of weeks ago, after my complaints and court cases, they've made a new Cabinet Manual, and they've put the Treaty of Waitangi in it, but they've put the Hugh Kafaru version in it, which has removed us as subjects, and it has removed New Zealand Maori as the sole sovereigns thereof, and it has removed New Zealand natives as the proprietors of the land, and it has removed the word subject for the Anglo-Saxon people, and it has removed the word majesty. Yeah, it's removed everything. So it's completely, and it's that version that sits in UNESCO that Ati Afoha and those other entities function out of. So he's turned around and put that in the Cabinet Manual. But anyway, so I had written to the Cabinet Manual office, which goes directly to the office of Prime Minister Chris Hipkins, right? Hipkins. And so I'll tell you my letter that I wrote. Okay, I can share screen to you. So I'll share the screen so that you can see it, but my viewers can see it. Right, so it says here, I said to him, Guten Morgen, to the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet. On the 9th of April, I did make the request to your office as follows. Could you please inform me as to any progress made about this issue? So I'd sent them this letter, but I hadn't received an answer. It said, Dear Sir, Madam, I see the original 1979 Cabinet Office Manual instituted by Robert Muldoon seems to be restricted because it came under the archives as being a restricted item. Is it? Why would a cabinet manual be restricted? Why would they need to?
Exactly.
Yeah. Is it possible to get access to the 1979 cabinet manual? I may be mistaken, but I thought that the 2017 version had Prime Minister Muldoon's forward and his signature. Has this been removed at some point? If it is not possible to access the 1979 Cabinet Office Manual, what would be the reason for that? And then I put a note, Sharon. Wait, because I'm going to tell you the funny thing. So then I put a note, and then I said, I would also like to make special note that my name is Catherine Sextus, though my email address says Caitlin, because they were addressing me as Caitlin, which is my email address. I have updated my email name to be Catherine Sextus and kindly ask that all correspondence is referred by using the greeting Guten Morgen, Catherine. Guten Morgen, and then I said, Guten Morgen is the native German language of the original German settlers who arrived on the St. Pauli ship in 1844. Such settlers were taken under the governance and protections of Tamati Wakanene and Patuoni. I always like to elevate these paramount chiefs because the other chiefs, Te Kooti and Te Raupara, have been having a field day over the last 50 years, and it's time we brought in the big guns, Tamati Wakanene and Patuoni. I would appreciate an acknowledgement by Cabinet of my ancient language and traditional greeting used in New Zealand early history. And then I've got, and then I've got I'll try and speak some German, Hotschatungsvoll. Hotschatungsvoll. I can't say. And that means yours sincerely, Catherine Sextus.
Oh.
Isn't that clever? Now, not get to the funny. So then I got just a letter, and it was just a standard letter. So the next letter that previously they sent me a letter saying, Kia ora, Caitlin, and I had asked them to address me as Guten Morgen. So this time he came back and he said, Tēnā ko, which God knows whatever that means. Tēnā koia. And so he said, thank you for the emailing the Prime Minister and Cabinet, including the National Emergency Management, which I did not email them at all. And he says, please note that they cannot respond to emails that are outside its scope. If the subject of your email doesn't relate to the work, we will forward your email to the appropriate minister or agency. And then it says, if your correspondence is intended for the Prime Minister, please email his office at Chris Hipkins, right? And so I was going to reply to this. However, I did then get a new letter the next day. So that was sent on the 26th. So I sent on the 26th, and then I got this letter on the 26th saying to but then I got another letter on the 27th. And look, they have addressed me and they've said, Guten Morgen, Catherine. No more tēnā kouti. No more tēnā koe. Tēnā kuia. It's Guten Morgen, Catherine. Isn't that funny, Sharon?
I think that's bloody primo, Kate.
Yeah, I think it is primo too. So they can they can address me in German now. And I'll be asking for all court documents from now on to address any Anglo-settlers of German ancestry by the words Guten Morgen from now on, because that's our native language, Sharon, that they stole from us.
I must have a look what it is in Irish.
Well, you'll have to. Yes, Sharon, we'll get them to address us and end their letters in the correct languages of our native ancestors, Sharon. We can do the Scottish Gaelic, and then the Irish, and then we've got our German. That's only those three. Irish, there's going to be the Irish and then Scottish, Gaelic, and then there's going to be the German, right? That's all our ancestors. Then it says, so this is a new one. He says, thank you for your inquiry to the Cabinet Office asking for the copy of the first Cabinet Manual from 1979. We responded to your inquiry last week, but it appears you haven't received our reply. All I got is a reply similar. I got a reply similar to this. So maybe, I don't know, but we have undertaken, so what we've got them doing, you see, this is what I'm saying to you. If you sit around, the only time that Parliament or the police serve you is when you've done something to break any of their rules in their mind. They will serve you a notice to pay, or they will serve you a notice to go to the court. They do not serve you in their the servitude is that they work for all the public, and when one person violates their rules, they will serve you notice to correct it on behalf of the rest of the public. So that's the way that they serve. But what I'm saying is that if you're not doing anything wrong and you think that they're doing something wrong, then we serve them. You've got to change your mindset. We serve them, and we serve them notice. So you don't sit round waiting for Parliament to serve you. You take action and serve them notice. So I served them notice to get looking for this 1979 Cabinet Office Manual, which they should have. And they all got busy for me because I served them. You see? Yeah, so they got busy. So that we have undertaken a search for the copy. So they've been doing the searches for me for the first Cabinet Manual, previously known as the Cabinet Office Manual, issued in January 1979. We have located numerous copies, which means there are many, many copies down at the office, down at the Parliament, right? However, so they must have been going through all the cupboards looking for, you see, because I served them and I ordered them to go to work for me. You see, is that right? That's the way you do it, Sharon.
That is how you do it.
That is, isn't it? And we have located, however, these include subsequent amendments which were made during the 1980s. So I think Muldoon was kicked out of office. As soon as they kicked him out of office, when the Cabinet Office Manual was first issued and the amendments were made, now you have to listen to this carefully, Sharon, the amended pages were inserted manually into the original bound versions, which replaced the original pages. So the Cabinet Office Manual was bound in a folder. It was bound up, and they removed the original pages and replaced it with amended pages. So the actual original pages have just poof, disappeared. But wait, because we got them busy down there, as they should be. The Cabinet Office does not hold a copy of the original 1979 when they should. The Cabinet Office Manual, as the versions we hold, were continually updated. However, here's the good news. I'm not going to be Debbie Downer, Sharon. The Cabinet Office does, however, hold a scanned copy of the Cabinet Office Manual from 1979 with the amendments up to October 1984. Now that's okay because we only would like to compare pre-1986 to post-2017.
Yeah.
So we're still going to get a pre-1986 version with the amendments. So it's going to be
Yeah, but
still fairly accurate.
will it have Muldoon's signature like before?
Yes, it will. And it will
It
have
should,
yes, it should. And it says, please, they're so nice to me. Please do let us know if you would like a copy of this version. Do you see? It's because I have served them. See, if they serve you, it means that they're taking you to prison or they're taking you to
Yes.
court. When we serve them, that means that we get them running around after us, not us running around after them. That's the way the common law works. That is the essence of common law. People are saying to me, what is this 1688? It is the ability to serve parliamentarians with notice to get to work and do something that you want them to do. All right? Yeah, and so they're so nice. They said, please do let us know, and I will be letting them know. The 2000, and some more good news, the 2017 version of the Cabinet Manual, it says here, was not signed by and did not contain a forward by former Prime Minister Robert Muldoon. But I will show you that it does have him in there. We can advise, however, that Archives New Zealand holds a proof of the original 1979 Cabinet Office Manual, which includes a forward and signature by Robert Muldoon.
Tell them you want that.
Yeah, we want that.
Tell them you want that.
So
Yes.
for that one, we have to get it ourselves. A copy of this file is available through open access on request from Archives New Zealand and is no longer restricted. Further information on requesting files.
Wow.
Yes. So
the next thing to look at, it wasn't there.
No.
It was restricted.
And even now, so then they said, we would be grateful if you could please confirm receipt of this email. So I imagine they might be a bit worried about the email that they sent last week that I never got. So now they've, so he said, please can you let us know, of which I will let him know. And you know what is interesting? If you look on here, see, I like getting these documents because this is and what you look down here, Sharon, and there's no Aotearoa on there.
No, that's New Zealand.
Not like the court documents, you see.
Building Wellington, 611, New Zealand.
Yeah.
No Aotearoa.
No.
What's on the insignia on their circle piece? What does that say?
That says Wellington.
What says up the top?
It says Cabinet Office Wellington.
Oh.
They've got their own seal. And it says Cabinet Office Wellington. And the Waitangi Tribunal does not have Aotearoa on it either.
Really?
No, it doesn't, because I can show you. Look. I did the see if I can find it. I shouldn't have it up there really. Right, hang on. How can I hide it? Can I hide that there? Right. Hang on. Can you see that, Sharon?
Justice.government.nz. Even the email squad still got NZ on it.
This is for the Waitangi Tribunal, and
Yeah.
there's no Aotearoa on it.
No, it's got NZ.
It's just only
Look,
got,
their
it's got
email-
Wellington, it's got Wellington and Justice Government New Zealand.
Yeah.
And no, so I'm still waiting for the information. I've sent them a reminder. So I'm still waiting for
Cool.
that from them.
Oh, that was lovely. That was interesting.
That's
Don't
in,
forget to remind them to approve that
yeah, I'm
do
gonna
signature.
what I've got to do is what I've got to do is
Right
I've
on that.
got to so I've got to wait for the Waitangi Tribunal. Don't worry about that. That's just sitting there. And then I've asked the Waitangi Tribunal if I may be tangata whenua. So I did say I better put that Waitangi Tribunal up, actually. I did want to mention it in a video. So I will mention it.
It was lovely. It was really lovely. You had them working.
Eh? So I
That
said...
was lovely. You had them working for you.
Yes. So I said my family arrived on the St. Paul's ship to New Zealand on the 14th day of June, 1843. In March 2023, a member of the KO office, Bryce Smith, made an announcement on YouTube that any Anglo-Saxon people whose ancestors came on a ship 1769 to 1852, such people may enjoy the same rights as New Zealand Maori and would be considered as tangata whenua of the land. And I says,
Can you see your screen?
Hey? Oh, hang on.
Can you see your screen?
Yeah. Now, can you see that now? So I said my family arrived on the St. Paul's ship. And then I said, if that he writes, he writes, this is from Bryce Smith, he said on his YouTube, if you can trace your ancestry between 1769 and 1852, there's a window after this time before the immigration law came, so that line is extended. What that means is we were never immigrants to this country, nor considered to be immigrants, nor were we ever given. So all the people that came after 1852 came in as immigrants and then became citizens. They kept their core nationality and they became citizens and they became dual citizens. But that was not the case for all pre-1852, where there was no immigration law. When they came, they had their nationality severed from them, and they became no different than New Zealand Maori on the land. So this is very significant. So that's what he says. So he said that you are a Pākehā. Once you learn your pepeha, you are tangata whenua and you can enjoy the same rights. I'm a bit annoyed that he's joined it up with Samoan, Cook Island and all of that, but all of that is out of it. It should only be with the upcoming census this week. The options are New Zealand, European Maori. And then he's not put a comma, then he's put Samoan, Cook Island, Cook Island, Maori, Tongan, Niuean, Chinese, Indian, and other, and then write tangata whenua. Now, I don't know why he's written it like that, because all of those, so he says the Pākehā, the census should read tangata whenua, Maori, tangata whenua, Pākehā, but then he's added Samoan. Well, I guess what he's meaning is that if you were a Samoan whose ancestors arrived pre-1852, you would be tangata whenua also. Anybody. So if you were Chinese, you would be tangata whenua Chinese. Anyone that was here and had come pre-1852, but not really, because you had to be a subject, and Samoans were not subjects. So the key of it was that we lost our nationality and became subjects together with the New Zealand Maori. That's the core issue that I'm calling to. And it's called article. So then I said, I would like to know if this issue would be recognised at the Waitangi Tribunal, specifically because currently only a New Zealand Maori is permitted to enter the Waitangi Tribunal with their grievances. Does the Waitangi Tribunal recognise Anglo-Saxon people descended pre-1852 as also being tangata whenua of this land, and therefore deemed to be a New Zealand Maori? So we would be Maori Pākehā or Pākehā, I don't know what we would be. We'd be a Maori pair. So I have asked them that, and then I got a message back.
Maori Peons.
Eh?
Maori Peons, Kate. Maori
Yes,
Peons.
we would be Maori Peons. So then I said, I have forwarded your email on to our registrars who will be able to assist you with this request. So it's gone to the registrar, and it's been there since the 14th of April. So it's been 15 days, and I have not heard from them. Now, when I heard from the Cabinet's office, it was a very nice letter, and they had done a lot for me. So in regards to this issue, I have served. See, I served the Waitangi Tribunal. And yes, and I have told them what I want them to do, because I serve them. They don't serve me. I serve them. And I've served them with notice to get their little fingers looking through all their little books and get their little feet scurrying around and find out this information for me, is what I've said to them. And so I haven't had a message back. So I just sent them a letter today to ask them if they could scurry on and get this fixed up. So hopefully we'll get a letter from them. And getting back to the Cabinet Manual, so the Cabinet Manual of 2017. Can you? Oh, you won't be able to see that. Hang on. So he said that Muldoon. He basically said Muldoon is not in the Cabinet Manual, but the forward. So these are all the rules that Cabinet have to follow. These are the things that they have to do. And if they don't do them, you have to serve them notice. That's your duty as a subject, is to serve them notice under your 1688. Say, hey, you're not following the rules. So every New Zealand person should know this Cabinet Manual inside out. And you'll know the laws that they have to follow. And you'll see when they're breaking the laws, which they are. Now it says, so the forward was put forward by Bill English, right? And then it was also, the preface was put forward by Michael Webster, the Secretary of the Cabinet and the clerk. But if you go, it's got the Treaty of Waitangi, and it's got here the relevant English and United Kingdom statutes. Then it's added the Magna Carta, which is not in the original, but it's got the Bill of Rights right there, and the Act of Settlement. Yeah, so that has got that there, right? And then it's got the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act. These are all acts. This is the State Sector Act, the Electoral Act, Senior Courts Act, District Court Act, Ombudsman Act, Official Information Act, Public Finance Act, and the New Zealand Bill of Rights Act. Now, all of these acts can be changed. But these ones here, the Magna Carta, which was not part of New Zealand laws until 2016, was when it became part of, they brought it in, especially to do this dictatorship that they want to do. The Bill of Rights, 1688, and you'll notice that you can't add a word in there. And then the Act of Settlement, so that can be changed. The Act of Settlement can be changed. And then all confirmed as part of the law of New Zealand by the Imperial Laws Application Act 1988. Now, this can be changed, but this can't be changed. Then you've got your Treaty of Waitangi here and the conventions of the Constitution, yada, yada, yada. The Queen reigns and all of this. But if you go right down to the bottom, now it's not that long. Clerks, meetings, gazetting, announcement, royal honours, administration, acceptance of right, heraldry, order of precedence, conduct. See the conduct, see those women that were down at the protests, bloody swearing and waving flags around and inciting public unrest. That is illegal under the conduct of the ministers that are supposed to work differently from the public. And so they have been, there's all sorts of mischief that they got up, and it tells the ministers how they must behave, and then dismissals. So they should have lost their jobs. So we have to.
Madam Davis didn't behave very well. Well, she didn't speak very well, did she?
No, and she should not have been down at the protest, and Golritz Garaman should be not be down at the protest waving Iranian flags and waving Ukrainian flags. They're not supposed to do those things.
What's his name?
Who?
Lau.
Even Lau, because he's the youth parliament leader, and he absolutely should not be doing porn, showing his naked pictures. I'll just show everybody a picture of. I will show Chanel Lau. We'll come back in a minute and show Chanel Lau, but he should not. So that's all in here. But if you don't serve them with notice, then it's just like if you go down to the shop and you steal a bunch of candy, a bunch of lollies, put them in your pocket and walk out the shop. If the shopkeeper doesn't call the police, so he serves notice, he sends a notice to the police and he says, will you serve this person on behalf of me? And then the police will serve notice to the thief that you stole something and you better come to the court. Now, if that shopkeeper doesn't exercise his right and utilise his police, then they will not serve notice. Well, it's the same. When the ministers don't behave in the way that they're supposed to, if you don't serve notice to them by registered mail that they have violated the laws, then they're not going to get anything happen to them because you didn't serve them. That's your duty. It's your duty to serve them and serve them And the way when you know how you serve them, what crimes can you serve them for, it's in the cabinet manual. It tells you. So all their rules and all their laws are in here, Sharon. And then
So they can go and break their own laws, and they're supposed to govern by their cabinet manual, their cabinet office manual.
they can break as many of their own laws as they want if the public doesn't do its duty and serve them.
Yes. And nobody's held them to account.
Yes, nobody's held them to account.
Wow.
You see?
I must go through that manual.
So
Yes.
when the policeman serves you to hold, well, not you, but a thief, when the policeman serves the thief notice that he broke the public's laws, then that thief has to go to the court and be held to account. But if the policeman never served him, then the thief didn't get held to account, and the thief will keep going back and stealing more and more and more. See, Kerry Allen has committed crimes against the cabinet manual, and nobody has served her. We had newspaper articles saying you shouldn't do that. We had people sending them a letter saying you shouldn't do that, but nobody served them notice under the cabinet manual and the 1688. So you usually need the both. If you have the 1688 and you have the cabinet manual and you have your Treaty of Waitangi, that's what you use to serve them. And then they have all their thousands of subordinate laws to serve you. That's the way. Thank you, son. So that's the way it all works.
Well, I don't know why you don't cut it like that for me.
I don't know how to.
Show Maxine how I cut it.
It's not Maxine, it's Sharon. And
Sharon, anyway, same thing.
We're making a video. Wants me to show you the mango.
Isaac! Oh, yeah.
Can you see the mango?
Yes, I can. I love mango.
He's cut it for me.
Nice.
You use a fork to eat mango, not a knife.
See, this is on video for my YouTube. All right,
Bloody
so
bad,
it's disturbing my YouTube. Pay attention. Right, so do you get it now, Sharon? This is how.
Yes, I do.
Yes, so that's what your duty is, to serve them. It's no good just writing them a letter and saying, hey, I don't like what you did. Well, imagine if
You've got to actually state the laws that they've broken under their own cabinet manual.
Exactly. And then you will wait for them. Then they will go to work. They will send you lots of letters to explain to you why they think. And if you still think that they have not, then you don't need to go to the police. You go directly to the court like I did. And you serve notice at the court, and you bring them in and you hold them to account. That's common law.
Wow.
You see? And the judge will, usually the penalty would not be, they don't get penalties of going to prison or anything like that. But the penalty is that they get stepped down. They get stepped down. And they lose their salary. Just like anybody else, just like if you're working in a job and you are consistently disobeying your contract, your manager's going to call you in and hold you to account. And he said, you're not coming to work on time. You on your telephone all the time. You've been down there at those protests protesting against our office that you work for. You've been protesting against the Queen, who you work for. And so since you've been doing that, then you are not in harmony with our policies, and so you need to leave. You see, that's holding them to account. unless they steal money. If they steal money, then they're supposed to go to prison. So,
Supposed to.
they don't always need to go to the prison. They can only just go to the court and say, I believe
Well,
that... Eh?
they should get kicked out of Parliament.
Yes.
They don't have to go to prison.
No.
They get kicked out of
Yeah,
Parliament.
they get kicked out of Parliament, and you've only got to do that 3 or 4 times, and that Parliament will step into line. You know, they're like naughty children that have been let run havoc for years, and now the new nannies come in, the new proprietors, the new nannies come in and said, hey, I'm not going to allow this anymore. It's chaotic. It's terrible for the people. And they will step into line once they know that there'll be consequences. None of them wants to lose their $400,000 a year job.
A year.
Yeah. And their retirement benefits. So, I mean, I just don't see why they can
when
get...
When they're going to go and do stupid antics like they had, Maraba Davidson, Chanel Lau, Kitty Tapu Allen,
Yes.
when they go and do those things, they shouldn't be there in the first place.
No, if they're turning up at protests, when our country has decided on an international policy that is against one of their countries, or decides not to send money to one of their countries, or decides not to give extra visas to their country, if they're down in the streets waving their foreign flags in our nation of New Zealand, they've got no right to be in our parliament because they're obviously working against our country. No, they should not. Chanel Lau has sat on public television and he said, I am a New Zealander, meaning him, who's been in New Zealand for 6 years, and he says, colonists, get out of my country. That's what he said. You colonists, and he was referring to all the Anglo-Saxon people that have been living with the New Zealand natives for 400 years. 400 years we go back to. He came in 6 years ago, Sharon.
Yeah, well, 5 minutes ago.
Yes, 5 minutes ago. And he's working.
Infrastructure.
Eh?
Him and his family didn't help with infrastructure.
They did not. Our ancestors together, yours and mine, built all the roads, all the parliaments, all the hospitals, all the schools, all the water infrastructure, all the forestries, all the fisheries, all built by our ancestors together. There are pictures everywhere that they hide now of our ancestors working together. And these people are just destroying. But anyway, let's get to the brunt of the matter. So this is how you do it. It's all about, they only serve you if you have committed a crime against the state. If you haven't committed a crime and then they have not done their job correctly, you serve them. That's your public duty, to hold them to account. That's how it goes. But if you're not doing your duty and they are causing havoc, who is to blame here? What's the answer, Sharon?
Oh, sorry, I was reading your letter. What did you say?
I said, don't read that. I've said, Sharon, I'll turn that off for a minute. If their duty is to serve you when you commit a crime and hold you to account, right? And your duty is to serve them when they don't follow their laws that they're supposed to. If you don't serve them and they are running chaos, whose fault is it?
It's mine, because I didn't do anything.
Because you didn't do your duty.
Exactly.
That's right, Sharon. So we
And-
have to serve them
Yes.
to hold them
Most
to
definitely.
account. That's our duty.
Yeah.
And if we're not performing the duty, then they're not at fault.
No,
we
they're
are.
not.
No, they're not.
We are. I am letting them run ruin, cause havoc, because I'm not holding them to account.
Yes.
There you go. Accountability right there.
Right there, Sharon. That if you have
Right
someone
there.
that goes into the shop and steals all the lollies, and then the shopkeeper doesn't go to the policeman and ask the policeman to serve the thief, right? So the shopkeeper
Yep.
didn't do his duty. And then even if the
Mhm.
shopkeeper went to the policeman and did not serve the thief, well, the shopkeeper's the one that's got to do it, really. If the thief comes back next week, the only one to blame is the shopkeeper, because he did not do his public duty by going to the policeman to ask the policeman to serve notice on that thief and hold the thief to account. Now, the only difference is with us is that we don't go to the police. We serve the police. We serve the ministers. We serve the Governor General. We serve them. So therefore, if we want to take them to the court, obviously we don't go through them, because that's them just working for themselves. Why would you?
Yes.
Why would you get the thief to serve himself? Would you get a thief to serve another thief notice? Imagine that. A thief went to the shop, stole all the lollies. He stole all the lollies. The shopkeeper went to another thief and said, "Can you serve notice to this thief?" You know what's going to happen? Both the thieves are going to get together and turn up at the shop next week, and they'll both bloody rob the shop.
Yeah.
Won't they?
Yes.
You can't expect a thief to serve a thief.
Yeah.
It just isn't going to work.
Yeah.
They'll just team up. That's like all the people in Parliament. If you send a letter to, I don't know, Marama Davidson, you say, "Hey, Marama Davidson, that Golretz Garaman and that Chanel Lalau, they've been going down and causing havoc in the community, causing unrest, flying fake flags and getting all the people stirred up." And Marama Davidson, well, what did she do? She went down to she went down to the office as well, and she did exactly the same thing. So there you go. So that's what two thieves will do. They'll get together and they'll both go and rob the store together.
Yeah.
Won't they, Sharon? So there you go.
They certainly will.
They certainly will. So we don't do that. So
Well done.
what we do is we send them a letter. First of all, we let them know our grievance. We wait to see if they're going to come back with a remedy. If they're not going to come back with the remedy, then you go directly to the court and you will file your case at the court, an applicant's claim. You'll go and file a claim. Then the court will directly serve that. Well, they won't. The court will send the papers to me.
Right?
They'll send them back to me. I'm in the pilot's seat, and then I'm going to get those papers. Now, I can either send them on or I can put them in the bin. It's up to me. The ball's in my court. I go down to the registrar's office. I make a letter thing that you send.
Yeah.
They take it to the Prime Minister's office or the minister that I'm serving. He accepts it with his signature. He must accept it. If he doesn't accept it, I will send a notice to the court that they have not accepted it, and the court will then serve it for me. If they still won't accept it, the court will conduct the hearing without them in absentia, because that's what they said to Jacinda Ardern. They said, you don't have to come. I can't force you to come. But if you don't come, we will conduct the entire court hearing without you, and we will make the decision on any penalties or not penalties, and you will not have any say in what is decided. And so we'll have it with or without you. That's the you two, isn't it? We will have it with or without you. Is that right, Sharon?
Yeah.
So that's how we hold them to account. It's that simple. It is that simple.
Well, it's simple if you didn't have to pay.
Well, yes, we won't talk about that today, but that is an issue. But we're working on that, Sharon. Don't worry about it.
It is that simple.
But it is that simple. Now, if you go down to the Cabinet Manual, and if you go down to, see, it talks about all the managing the conflicts, constituency interests, gifts, gifts from foreign governments, cultural gifts, party donations. Ministers, as members of Parliament, may accept political party donations. The fact that the minister is accepting the money on behalf of the party must be made clear. However, the minister must pass the money on as soon as possible. And this is what Kerry Allen did not do. She didn't disclose it. And she got paid money from one minister to another minister. From the moon, you see, and she didn't disclose it. And when she got caught, she disclosed it. And so, you see, this, and presently nobody's done anything about it because nobody's served and nobody's gone to serve. So that was her. So that's right there. Then you've got the other one that we had, the conduct. That's for Chanel Lau. Yeah, that's Chanel Lau, Goritz Garaman, and Marama Davidson, all in one letter of service right there. Take all three of them together. Boom, boom, boom. That's what they do to us. 3 thieves on one paper. Yeah, because I've been a thief, so I've been served many times by them. So I know all about being served, and now I know about how to serve as well. So we all get to serve. Got to serve somebody. Now, I'm trying to get down. Minister of the Crown, Public Services, State Sector, the roles, the ministers. So it tells you all about it. The accountability documents, the briefings, the officials, everything's in here. Their responsibilities, everything is here. And their integrity and conduct throughout the state sectors. Principles of public service. Yeah, they must act impartially, fairly.
Standards of and conduct and everything they do.
Yeah, see, that's Waititi, Rawiri Waititi, out you go, calling other parties parasites and various, that's something that you've done. They should be honest, impartial, advice to be free and frank, political neutrality. Political neutrality also means that you should not go to protests and stand on one side or the other. That's political neutrality. So they should not ever enter into public protests. They've got no right. They lose that right when they enter Parliament because they must be impartial, and they're not being impartial. If they're not in office now, Winston Peters went down to the protests, right? But he was not in office. Not only what is, and he did, and he only just said, he didn't say who was right, who was wrong. He said someone should come and speak to them.
should have come out.
That's all he said, but he was very impartial. So if they're going down there flying a Ukrainian flag or a Samoan flag or whatever, and they're in Parliament, that's illegal to their oath of office. And we should be serving them and holding them to account.
Yes.
They are supposed, this is for all the homosexual parliamentarians. They are supposed to ensure that their personal interests or their activities do not appear to interfere with their obligation to serve the aims of and objectives of their employer. Who is the employer?
The bloody government.
No, it's the wrong answer. We are.
Oh, yes, we are.
We are.
Well,
We
They're supposed to
employ
be.
them, and they are not supposed, they're supposed to serve the aims and objectives of the public. That's us. They must seek to avoid situations where there could be a conflict or appearance of conflict between their personal interests and the interests of their employers. Now, the Prime Minister is the employer of all the ministers. And they are supposed to be neutral on all matters at all times. And if they're a homosexual, they should not be doing homo promo and naked videos of homo promo in their office. Because they're supposed to keep, if they're having a divorce, they're not supposed to be talking about that down at Parliament. If they're having car troubles, we don't want to know about whatever your troubles are. That's all personal to you. That stays out of the office. You see, you leave your problems at the door. And so they should not be fighting for their homo promo and their whatever promo things, their handicapped promo or their, what are the other promos? The Maori promo, the Islander promo, the ethnic promo, all the promos should not be doing that in our Parliament. They're supposed to be working for the people of New Zealand. Isn't that right, Sharon?
neutrality, yep.
So they're all acting illegal. Yeah, so there you go. That's all that kind of stuff. And then there's a whole lot more in here. They don't even read the damn thing, I'm sure. But they should.
Well, not if they carry on the way they're carrying on. Well, obviously, they haven't read it.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is what we want to bring to the public's attention. We're just saying that, and that's how we hold them to account, Sharon. Enough.
Yes.
And then the bit that I wanted to, that's the duties, powers, support, establishing inquiries, budgets, everything that you need. Decision making, how they make their decisions, all of that. And so there's a lot that they are very, very restricted on how they're supposed to be behaved. They're not supposed to be behaving in this way. They really are not. And but the reason why they're able to is because we have not done our duty to serve them, to be held to account for their illegal actions. Now, I'm just trying to get to a piece here. I don't want to go too... do that another day. So much good stuff in here, Sharon. It's a bit of a long read, but if you whenever you see them doing something wrong, you go and look in here, and it's got all about the citizen-initiated referenda, which I don't do that because I believe that this is a waste of your time. I believe that we should be taking them to the courts Now we've come to the point where we should be taking them. If they're failing in their public office, they have to be held to account. That's different to a referenda where you want some law change. That's very different. Now I want to get down here. It's so far down. Oh, the appendix. Now the appendix has all of the letters patent and Queen Elizabeth. This is what was done in 1979. All this. But it was changed. All of this is from 1979. And it's got the oath, it's got the boundaries of New Zealand, and it's got the boundaries of the flag and stuff about the flag and all of that in there. And then all of the oaths that they have to take. And then there's a change down here where they've added the 1986 Constitution Act and removed the 1852. So this is new. And so that's when they start talking about the 1986, and they've put it in the Cabinet Manual. Then if you go right down here, it's got R.D. Muldoon, by Her Majesty's command. But I believe that this was altered when they added the 1986. I'm not sure when they added that, but this is the 2017 version. So he's the one that brought in all the imperial laws and the appendix.
Yeah.
So he did that, right? And then if you look here, then you'll go down to the index. And what you'll see here is that there's no 1990 Bill of Rights in here. It's nowhere. You might be able to find it. I haven't found it so far. I have not found it. So somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. However, if you go to the new Cabinet Manual, so that's that one. If you go to the new Cabinet Manual, which is 2023, now this is where I'm going to have an upset. So this is the, it's just only recently been published on Thursday the 20th of April. So they've done this, and so this is the new edition of the Cabinet Manual. And it will go to Cabinet Manual. Now, I'm not going to go into, but this one is the new one that was done by Chris Hipkins. Yeah, and then you would have to look at the foreword of Chris Hipkins, and then the preface was done by Rachel Hayward. And then if you go down to the appendix, which I have not looked at the comparison of this, but I will. What you'll see they've got an Appendix A and Appendix B. So this one has got, this has only got, hang on. This has only got an appendix. That's it. But the new one has got an Appendix A and an Appendix B. And you do have to go and look at the Black's Law Legal Dictionary of an appendix, which means that this is an attachment that are laws that have to be followed together with the Cabinet Manual. They are part of the laws that they have to follow. And the appendix, they've now done Appendix A, which is here, Appendix A, and they've instituted the Treaty of Waitangi, but also this Te Tiriti, and that is the Te Tiriti of the translation by Hugh Kafaru, which has never been approved by the Waitangi Tribunal. Never. It's never been passed into law. So I will have to serve them notice that this has not been passed into law, and therefore it shouldn't be in there until such time as it is passed into law. And I will oppose it being passed into law because it is repugnant to the original treaty. It is repugnant.
Yeah.
And if you look here in the article, this is why I'm opposed to it. In the original version, it says, Her Majesty's subjects who have already settled in New Zealand and the rapid extension of immigration from Europe and Australia. So Europe's in there, Australia's in there, and Her Majesty's subjects are in there, right? And then if you go down and look at Hugh Kafaru's version, he has removed the word subjects, and he just says the people of New Zealand. And he's removed the words, he's removed Australia, he's removed the Europeans, and he's removed Australia, and he's removed the word subjects. And he doesn't use Her Majesty Queen Victoria. So it's supposed to say Her Majesty Victoria, Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. This is the corporation right down here where he says Victoria, the Queen of England, and not included the United Kingdom, which means that it removes the 1879 Bill of Rights, which is of Scotland, that New Zealand was sat on. That one of 1689. New Zealand sat on the 1689, and then the 1689 sat on England, and that's been removed. So that's so that's the removal of the 1688 from our laws. That's the steps that they're taking. But the bit, you can see that, can't you? But the bit that there's more stuff in there, but don't worry about that. But the bit that bothers me and should bother every New Zealand native, you see here over their respective territories as the sole sovereigns thereof. The Queen, Her Majesty Queen Victoria, acknowledged that the natives are the sole sovereigns of this land. Nobody else. Only you. And look at Hugh Kafaru. In his article, the first, it's gone. He says, would they give the chiefs, give absolutely to the Queen of England forever the complete government over their land. And they've removed sole sovereigns thereof. It's gone. So I'm very upset about that. Then, that is a very, very dangerous document for you, not for me.
Because it allows every man and his dog to come into our country and do what they like.
And take it, because they've basically said you are not the sovereign holders of this land. And then,
Māori.
and then in the in the article, the second, it says that the prices may be agreed upon between the respective proprietors. The proprietors are you, your chiefs, who are the proprietors of the land. We are only tenants. See, all the Anglos are only tenants, and you are the sole sovereigns. Since you are the sole sovereigns, that makes you the proprietors of that land and us tenants. And Hugh Kafaru, in Article the Second, he said, the chiefs of the Confederation and all the chiefs will sell land to the Queen at a price agreed to by the person owning it and by the person buying it, the latter being appointed by the Queen as her purchase agent. He's removed that you are the proprietors, and he says that your individual person can sell your land to this Queen Corporation, and which is the Latter-day Saints, and it says in there the Latters too. So, but don't focus on everything. The key word that he has removed is Article the 1, that he has removed sole sovereigns thereof. And Article the 2, he's removed the proprietors of the land. And that is very, very, very bad. And then in the third article, they said that you would have, the natives would have her royal protection and imparts to them all the rights and privileges of British subjects. What is the right of a British subject? The right of a British subject is that you can go directly to the court and hold the king and hold the prime minister and hold all ministers and hold the governor general to account by serving them notice to come to the court. That is the privilege. But he's turned around and he has said in the third article, for this agreed arrangement concerning the government of the Queen. Now the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, is not allowed to be in the government. Her Majesty the Queen is outside of the government. And then he said the Queen of England, not of the United Kingdom, will protect all the ordinary people of New Zealand. That's everyone, and will give them the rights and duties of citizenship, same rights and duties of citizenship as the people of England. And so they made you citizens, not subjects, which has removed all your rights, which is exactly what Brown has said to me. He said, you're not a subject, you're a citizen. And it's exactly because of Hugh Kafaru that he's able to say that. Now they've put it in the cabinet manual. You see the little steps they're taking, the little sneaky steps they're taking, Sharon, to steal our country and steal our governance and steal our right to hold the government to account. That's what they're robbing from us, Sharon. And that
is what they're robbing from us.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
and we're going to call them to account over this, aren't we? That's what we're going to be doing.
Well, the whole lot.
Yeah,
They're not even abiding by their own cabinet manual.
Well, you cannot have the Yukafaru version and the English version because they're repugnant to each other. They are repugnant to each other, and they take away your sovereignty.
And our rights.
And your rights. Yeah, everything. Goodbye, Section 71 of the 1852 that said you can govern yourselves.
Yep.
That's going to be gone.
Yep. Everything's going to be gone. I always knew that. We already knew that. We figured that out. Maori are not going to have anything because of that.
Well, it's not, yeah, exactly. And it's not really your fault because you've been surrounded by nefarious people for many decades who've led you up the garden path for their sneaky, greedy
Agenda. Agenda.
agenda. Exactly, Sharon. Now, just to finish up, we will look at Chanel Lau. So everybody knows, see, this is Chanel Lau. I did take some images of him and I kept them in case he takes them all down. But here is Chanel Lau. And he's supposed to be our youth minister. Now, apparently they don't see anything wrong with him wanting to wear a dress and all of that, I suppose. But that would come under his personal issues, and he shouldn't be bringing his personal issues. But, but he's got a lot of naked pictures on here. And
well, I'm saying that, Kate, and saying that we don't care what you do with your personal life, just don't put it out in public.
I don't think it needs to be in public. I don't think. You know what? If Chris Hipkins went, or one of the other ladies went and took videos of their naked pictures of their naked body, there's actually a video. I can't find it now. There is actually a video. There are actually, see, this is Chanel Lau walking naked down the street, protesting all of his personal issues. That would require a parliamentarian to be stood down. That would,
Yes.
Because they're not being impartial. They're not being impartial to the other people of New Zealand that don't want to be subjected to all of this. He's clearly not loyal to New Zealand at all. He has absolutely no allegiance to the people of New Zealand. And he's made it clear when he said, colonists, get out of my country. That's what he said. There's a lot of naked pictures of him. And there's actually a lot more graphic pictures of him as well. And I don't think that it is the way that our parliamentarians should be behaving. I don't think. And it says there in the cabinet manual.
He shouldn't be behaving that way. He shouldn't be in Parliament at all if he wants to continue his personal issues.
Well, that's exactly right. So, but it's he's got a lot of videos, but there is one of him in a hotel room, naked, spreading his legs.
Oh.
I think I made a video of it, actually. I'd have to see.
Anything, and they will see this tomorrow or whenever you put it up. I bet you it'll all be taken down.
Doesn't matter because I've got all the pictures of it. But there is actually a screen recording. It'll be on my computer there somewhere. Oh, never mind. I'll get it another time. But anyway, these are the activities that they're getting up to, and they really shouldn't be doing these things. But anyway, that's going to be the end of that video. I'll just stop it. So remember, everyone, go and look at the cabinet manual and see the changes. And then is Muldoon, is he in this one? They've put that in the Appendix A, and then they've put in Appendix B the constitutional agreements of New Zealand, which I think is not correct. This one
Wow.
should be above. It should not be below. And it's really bad. And then has this one still got Muldoon on it? Oh yeah, they've still got Muldoon on it.
Mm.
And then if you go down to the index on this one, I haven't got it here, but I did do another video. If you go and search through the index, you're going to find that 1990 Bill of Rights everywhere. It's got several mentions. Here's one here. Then over here, New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990. For our 1688 Bill of Rights, it doesn't even pay homage to it. It simply says Bill of Rights, see New Zealand Bill of Rights Act 1990. So that's sneaky there. This is when they've removed our Bill of Rights and told us you're not allowed to use that anymore. You have to use this other one over here. And so that's the important bit of that. But you'll see that Bill of Rights Act 1990 come up several times. I found it about 4 or 5 times. But anyway, I'll turn off that video. So that's all the lesson that we've been having